This meeting was limited to just a few issues. First, about NPAs and recovery against NPAs. Second, stalled projects which have been stalled, and whether there is any sign of movement on those projects and what can be done to move those projects forward. Third is about new projects where loans have been sanctioned, and I wanted to know what is the progress in the drawdown against those loans and which sectors are moving and which sectors are still sluggish. Then, of course, the initiatives announced in the budget speech, how far they are progressing, and the special item on renewable energy, and the Secretary, Ministry of Renewable Energy was present, and there was a brief discussion on the initiatives that are being taken in the renewable energy sector. And then we had the NABARD, National Housing Bank, SIDBI, IIFCL, and very quickly we went over the matters of special interest to them. So that is the agenda that was covered. Now, on NPAs, we have made it very clear that while we understand why NPAs have risen and why restructuring of loans has increased, we also wish the banks to take firm steps to recover against the NPAs. I think the promoters have a duty to bring in additional money, and the companies have a duty to pay back the loans. We cannot have an affluent promoter and a sick company. The promoter must bring in money. And I think the banks have got the message. Without doing anything that will kill the business or the industry, banks will have to take steps to recover the NPAs. And I'm told that in the last month or so, recovery has improved. The second issue was the stalled projects, and this is rather worrying. We have today in only 5 sectors: power, roads, iron and steel, cement and ports, 215 projects which are stalled. The total investment in these 215 projects is in the order of 7 lakh crore. About 54,000 crore rupees has already been disbursed. Now, we've identified sector-wise the main reasons why the projects are stalled. I mean, anyone can easily infer what the main reasons are. The main reasons are coal linkage, environment clearance, forest clearance, land acquisition, allocation of coal blocks, power purchase agreement. Now, we have the number of projects, so we've asked the banks to look at each project and see how they can be moved forward. The sense I get is that while there is a greater degree of confidence today than what there was, say, 6 months ago, it's not yet clear whether these projects are moving forward. But they are likely to move forward now that we have resolved some issues relating to environment clearance, forest clearance, and NHAI. And some issues on coal have also been resolved. More coal blocks are being made available. If the DISCOM restructuring goes forward, then many of the power projects also will move forward. In ports, the problem seems to be land use. State governments have to be more proactive, but in the ministry we will now start taking sectoral meetings with the state governments and the promoters to see how we can move this forward. The next item is the new projects. Now, as far as new projects are concerned, they are in the same sectors. They are in the same sectors, namely road, power, iron and steel, cement and port. There are 126 new projects, for which the outlay is 3,55,000 crore. Amount sanctioned is 43,000 crore. But there has really been no drawdown against this amount, nothing significant. Now, going sector-wise, I'm told that there is now movement in iron and steel and cement. Both seem to be moving forward. In port sector, there's moderate likelihood that they will move forward. The real problems are in road and power. So our secretary and other secretaries will be involved to look at these projects in the road and power sector. There are 68 new projects in the road sector. There are 40 new projects in the power sector. We'll have to get them going. Drawdown has to start, construction has to start. We will involve the Ministry of Roads and the Ministry of Power and the Department of Financial Services and Department of Economic Affairs. We'll have to move them forward. But I'm heartened by the fact that in iron and steel and cement there is forward movement. Credit. We went over the other announcements in the budget. Agriculture credit, yes, we will achieve the target of 7 lakh crore rupees for agricultural lending next year. India Infrastructure Finance Corporation Limited, using ADB credit, has already sanctioned 3 projects. The GMR's road project in Andhra Pradesh, JP Hydro's hydro project in Uttarakhand, and L&T's road project in Maharashtra. We have already addressed the RBI regarding RIDF new tranche of 20,000 crore rupees, 5,000 crore rupees for NABARD for warehousing, SIDBI's refinance of rupees 10,000 crore, National Housing Bank's Rural Housing Fund of 6,000 crore, and National Housing Bank's Urban Housing Fund of 2,000 crore. So 5 letters have already gone to the RBI. RBI is on board and they will issue the formal concurrence. These monies will be made available for the infrastructure projects for which they are intended. In the current year, the promised capital infusion is nearly complete. There are only 3 more banks for which the infusion has to be done. Their board meetings are being held today, and we will complete the infusion of capital into these banks, 13 banks, isn't it, for 2012-13, and that will be complete before 31st of March. For next year, we have promised 14,000 crore, and that capital also will be infused into the banks. The first meeting of the expert committee on the National Women's Bank was held on Saturday, chaired by Shri M.B.N. Rao, former chairman Canara Bank, and they have promised to produce the blueprint by the 30th of April 2013. Meanwhile, many bank chairpersons told me today that they are opening all women's branches. And they are not going to lag behind the promised National Women's Bank, that they are aggressively going to open all women's branches. So I said, welcome, please open all women's branches. And I think you will find in the next 6 months a large number of all women's branches are being opened by many of the banks. On the ATM promise, as you remember, the promise is that all branches of all public sector banks will have an ATM by the 31st of March 2014. Now, the bank CMDs have assured me that this is doable. They will do it. All branches will have an ATM on-site ATM. Off-site ATMs is an addition, but on-site ATMs will be in place by 31st of March 2014.